For this evening's Richmond Common Council meeting for August the 17th. Would you please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer from Dr. Lucinda Wright? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we want to thank you. Thank you for this day that we've not ever seen before, nor will we ever see again. We're asking you to lead us, correct us, direct us, and guide us in your ways. And let us be about your work and what you want us to do. Bless those who were misplaced and displaced due to your work, to the floods, dear Lord. Let us do all that we can to help one another and for us to make right decisions that is going to benefit the whole of our community. And I'm praying for the least, the last, the lost, the hopeless, the helpless, the homeless, the hungry, the marginalized, the disenfranchised, the underserved, underrepresented, those not represented at all. And bless these young people who are here tonight, dear Lord. Wrap your loving arms around them and protect them. We ask it all in your Son, Jesus' name, and by the power of the Holy Spirit. Amen, amen, and amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Dr. Wright.
You're welcome.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss.
Here.
Lucinda Wright.
Present.
Bill Engel.
Here.
Larry Parker.
Here.
Ann Taylor.
Here.
Gary Turner.
Here.
Jane Bumbelow.
Here.
Justin Burkhart.
Here.
And Jerry Purcell.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you. At this time, we have all received the minutes from the August 3rd meeting. Are there any questions, comments, changes to be made?
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell.
if there are no changes to be made, I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented from the August 3rd meeting, 2026. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this point in our agenda, this is the presentation of petitions, memorials, complaints, introductions, motions, and resolutions. And I would like to move number 12, the presentation for Richmond Community Schools, up to this section, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Purcell.
Yes, I am so pleased to be here tonight and be able to make this presentation. And Councilman Jane Bumbelow has asked for a moment to speak before we get started with the presentation.
Yes, if I can get through this. Jessica's mother was my drill team instructor in high school. And we won the national drill team competition. And I see it passed down to her daughter and how it's impacted you. And I want to publicly acknowledge her because she made a tremendous impact on my life. And sometimes people do not realize how much they make an impact on your life ever. And her character, keeping us in line, and it was at a time in my life where I needed to be corrected and be put in line, and I cannot thank her enough. So thank you, Terry. I love you.
A moment of achievement in the midst of tragedy. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm, literally in our recent flooding and tragic loss. The wind is howling, the rain is relentless, and the sky is dark. Everything around you feels uncertain, fragile, and broken. And yet, right there in the heart of that storm, you see a single light, small but steady. The light, a ripple if you will, is what I want to talk about today. the rare and powerful moments of achievement that emerge in the midst of tragedy. Tragedy has a way of stripping life down to its rawest form. It takes away comfort, predictability, and sometimes even hope. But one ripple of light can build to a wave, opening the sky and allowing the light to shine. It is a strange, paradoxical gift. It reveals strength we didn't know we had, and it forces us to rise in ways we never imagined possible. A moment of achievement in the midst of tragedy is not about ignoring pain. It's about defying it. It's about finding the courage to take one step forward when the weight of tragic loss tells you to stop. One such example, this cheerleading squad, winning the State Fair cheerleading competition for the first time in the history of Richmond Senior High School. This ripple of hope could have been lost in the darkness of the sudden loss of Officer Brad Fisher, the tragic floods and damage in our county. But we will not let the setting of a goal, the hard work, preparation, and success of this group be lost in the dark. No, we will let their light shine as we celebrate their historic achievement. So the next time you find yourself in the middle of a storm, remember this. Achievement in tragedy is not about erasing the pain. It's about proving that the pain does not define the end of the story. In the darkest chapters, even the smallest victories shine the brightest, and sometimes that ripple of light, this team's light, is exactly what someone else needs to find their way through. Thank you. Now we'll go on to the proclamation. Whereas the Indiana State Fair celebrates excellence, teamwork, and community spirit through its many competitions, and the cheerleading championship stands as a shining example of dedication and athletic artistry. And whereas the Richmond Senior High School cheerleading squad has demonstrated exceptional skill, discipline, and sportsmanship, earning the title of the 2026 Indiana State Fair cheerleading champions. And whereas their synchronized performances, boundless energy, and an unwavering commitment have inspired audiences, uplifted fellow competitors, and brought pride to their school, family, and community. And whereas the squad's achievement reflects countless hours of practice and guidance of their dedicated coaches and the steadfast support of friends and family. And now, therefore, the Richmond City Council, under the leadership of President Justin Burkhart, does hereby proclaim that the Richmond Senior High School cheerleading squad and coaches be recognized and celebrated for their outstanding accomplishment, and encourage all citizens to join in honoring their victory and the positive example they set for youth across Indiana. Please come forward as your name is called. Head coach, Jessica Shade. Assistant coach, Ashlyn Cox. Okay. And I'm going to probably butcher your names, and I apologize. Kylie Berry. J.C. Biga. Ava Brown. Lucy Burkhart. Miley Cannon. Jamira Carter.
Is that your daughter?
Maddie Carter. Maddie Connor. Mishwan Craig. Grace Farrell. Hadley Hart. Jordan Haynes. Sophia Hill. Maya Lovelace. Cameron Pugh. And Monet Webster. The framed copy will be given to the high school for their trophy case. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Richmond, Indiana, to be affixed this 17th day of August, 2026, Justin Burkhart. I want to congratulate all of you and thank you.
All right.
Everybody gonna leave?
If they're smart, they will.
Yeah.
Hey, those kids don't want to listen to this
No.
stuff.
This means this was so
We leave with them. We leave with them.
How tall is her mother? About 5'2"?
Okay, getting back to just doing a little housekeeping here. There's a couple things that need to be removed from the agenda. Prior to tonight's meeting, I was asked to remove Resolution 23. It's my understanding that Resolution 24 has not made it to, Plan Commission has not heard that. And also,
Lisa said it has.
23 or 24?
23.
23,
Both of them?
or both.
24 is good. 24 is
24 is good.
Removing 20.
Plan Commission's been for 24? No, this isn't the carve-out, is it? Oh, I thought it was the, no. The new gas station on 35, annexation.
Speedway.
Sorry.
okay, all right, we need to scratch the scratch. Rewind, Resolution 23 has been removed, and I'd also like to, in the same motion, remove Ordinance 49, 2026, assuming that those will come back at a later time. So I'd like to make a motion to remove Resolution 23, 2026, and Ordinance 49, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to remove Resolution 23, 2026, and Ordinance 49, 2026. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So from there, we will go into Resolution 24, 2026.
Resolution number 24, 2026, a resolution of the Richmond Common Council approving an order of the Richmond Plan Commission.
Good evening, Beth Fields, Director of Strategic Initiatives.
Good evening.
Resolution 24-2026 that you have in front of you formally approves the Plan Commission Order 1-2026, which was in your packet. And this order confirms that the Redevelopment Commission's recent amendments for Project Phoenix align with the city's comprehensive plan. So the resolution and the attached Plan Commission that you have, the Plan Commission order that you have, authorized two primary changes. It executes a boundary realignment by removing the 7 specific parcels from the Main Street Downtown Allocation Area Number 1 and designates them as a newly created Downtown Allocation Area Number 3. And this is done so that we can isolate and capture the tax increment financing revenues for this specific site. Those are revenues that, but for this project, would not be realized. The other thing that this does is it expands the scope of our redevelopment plan to add Project Phoenix to our official list of projects. And this project includes the construction of approximately 100 apartment units, retail spaces, and commercial developments, as well as their supporting infrastructure. So after tonight's consideration by council, the next step is there has been an advertised public hearing that will occur at the Redevelopment Commission meeting tomorrow at 1:30. And at that meeting, they will then officially adopt an amending confirmatory resolution. And then after that step is complete, then we will work through the financing documents for that project. I'm happy to answer any questions.
President.
Mr. Parker.
On Project Phoenix, are these the 5 buildings that we're speaking of?
There are 7 now, yes.
7 now? Mm-hmm. Okay. And these are the ones that were purchased by the gentleman?
AP Development has purchased these, and these are also part of the Revitalize Richmond project with Earlham College.
Okay. Where is he from?
Anderson?
Anderson? Thank you.
Mr. Purcell, did Resolution 24-2026 get discussed tonight?
No.
Okay.
We did not. Mr. President?
Yes.
I do have a question for Beth. Now, the income, so we're going to do a TIF, is that right?
Correct. That's what this order does, is it carves out those 7 projects so that the increased revenue that will come, that would not exist but for this project, will be collected to repay the bonds that the developer is purchasing to complete the project.
Okay, and will that money go toward our matching for the Earlham Lilly grant?
It will be part of the private match that goes towards the Lilly cost share.
Yeah, you might explain to people that the 25 million, I don't know if people are aware of that, that is in the Lilly grant is 30% of the money to be spent.
Correct. Yes, so the maximum amount that you could receive from the College and Community Collaboration Initiative that the Lilly Endowment funded throughout the state of Indiana was a $25 million grant. We did receive the full amount. Earlham College applied for that. That full amount is going to leverage approximately an additional $83 million of private investment that will be coming alongside that. Some of that will be, they consider private investment anything that is not Lilly Endowment funded. So this one has a little bit different definition of the funding that comes through for that, whereas the Ready project that we'll talk about later this evening, that has a specific requirement for both private investment as well as public contribution. The Lilly Endowment funding for the College and Community Collaboration Program does not make that same distinction.
Okay, but the TIFs do go against it.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions of Beth? What is council's pleasure on Resolution 24-2026?
I move to approve Resolution 24-2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 24-2026. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have communications from the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move this a little closer. As everyone is aware of the recent storms, it's been a rough 6 days here in Richmond, but I'll start out with kudos to all of our dedicated, hardworking first responders, street department, parks, code enforcement, et cetera. Everyone truly stepped up in time of need and went beyond expectations. In a minute, I'll have some up here and give you some presentations of what they did and what's going to happen into the future. One of the things we did early Wednesday is I reached out to all the department heads and asked them to start keeping track of labor, expenses, equipment, anything that was lost or damaged, assuming the governor would do his declaration, which he did on Thursday. So keeping track of all that information is good. We have a 30-day window to capture all that and then apply to get refunded or reimbursed from FEMA. So that $5 million you heard about that Jefferson Shreve contacted, he sent a message to the mayor and the county commissioners over the weekend. That's some immediate funding to help with some immediate needs statewide, but that's separate from what FEMA will eventually do over the course of, once we apply in 30 days, who knows, it could take several months to get it, but that's the plan for all of our losses. And our losses are not as high as some other towns, but we still have some losses. Also, kudos to the chamber. So mayor's office and commissioners were in the heat of battle, so to speak, Wednesday, and we were having trouble getting together, so the chamber put together countywide Zoom meetings, and we repeated that on Thursday too. So we all stopped what we were doing for an hour and got on the same page and make sure we weren't duplicating services and we were getting the resources that people need. And I think it worked really well. Early this morning, Cambridge City, we got a report from them that they had 3 homes and 1 business that structures were destroyed. They had 174 structures with major damage, 71 with minor damage. My counterpart in Connersville, Mayor Frank, I haven't heard his totals yet too, but it'll probably be close to that. So to give us an update, I've asked fire, police, street sanitation, and parks to give us an update and information on how they responded, what they did, anything they lost that they have track of so far, and what their plans are for the time being, I guess. I think fire is first.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Chief Kinder, Richmond Fire. First, our hearts go out to everyone in our community who experienced loss of property or otherwise affected by the severe flooding. Please extend our heartfelt and prayers to all. We recognize the significant loss and challenges faced by our community. We stand with those who are working to rebuild their homes, businesses, and lives. Wayne County received more than 10 inches of rain, resulting in significant flash flooding throughout the community. The extraordinary amount of rainfall created an unprecedented demand for emergency services. On August 10th, Richmond Fire Department responded on 57 emergency calls within the fire district, including 8 water rescues. In addition to the water rescue and the flood-related incidents, firefighters respond to electrical hazards, building collapse, and other emergency calls associated with severe conditions. Crews also assisted residents in the community with throughout the flooding, working to protect lives, property, under the difficult, dangerous circumstances. All 8 of the rescued from flooding were unharmed. Richmond Fire Department also sent Unit 29, the water rescue unit, to the community of Cambridge City to assist with flooding emergency. Richmond Fire Department personnel were met with challenges of operating in a fast-moving, high-danger environment where conditions changed with little warning. Personnel were required to remain alert, changing flood conditions, potential entrapment, hazardous conditions, and the need to rapidly adjust operational priorities. Richmond Fire Department personnel rescued over 20 residents from flooding homes and businesses. I also want to recognize a special to the duty assistant during the critical incidents, Training Chief Matt Baker, Battalion Chief Chris Chappell, Battalion Chief Jerry Benjamin, Lieutenant Tyler Bell, Lieutenant John Owens, Lieutenant Jeremy Blake, Lieutenant Chris Morris, Lieutenant Joe Buckler, Engineer Eric Onstadt, Engineer Keegan Bain, Firefighter Nathan Bales, Firefighter Owen Ray, and Firefighter Sam Weller. Their willingness to respond to whatever they were needed to demonstrate their professionalism, courage, and commitment to the Richmond Fire Department. The flooding placed an extraordinary demand on all emergency services. The Richmond Fire Department was tested to its limits, but it did not break. Our firefighters and emergency personnel continue to answer calls, rescue residents, and serve our community and neighboring communities where they were needed to help most. We are grateful to every member of the Richmond Fire Department and to all the emergency responders, agencies, and community members who worked together during this difficult event. As we move forward, we will review the incident carefully, identify lessons learned, opportunities to improve our emergency response capabilities, and preparedness for future flooding and other major emergencies. At this time, I'd like to introduce Training Chief Matt Baker. He was the operations at Cambridge City.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Matthew Baker, Deputy Chief of Training for the Richmond Fire Department. Unit 29, which is our water rescue truck, Engine 1, and myself were first on scene to Church Street in Cambridge City. This happened by chance as we were responding back to Richmond from previous water rescue call-out that occurred south of Cambridge City. As we were stopped in traffic on Main Street, a bystander alerted us of a trapped individual in a brick house on Church Street. Dispatch then notified us of several other residents trapped in the area. We staged our apparatus at Church and Center to deploy our inflatable rescue boat. The water level and intensity rose quickly as we extricated several residents from Church Street. We had to relocate our vehicles further west due to worsening conditions. Shortly after, we regrouped with several emergency responders on the east side of Cambridge City, to include local fire departments, DNR, Reed Health, and other RFD personnel. Unified command was established and operations continued. Jacob Cox with Reed Health did a phenomenal job as incident commander. I'm very thankful that no responders were injured during the incident and countless citizens were rescued. We did sustain material losses due to operations. Unit 26, which is a Ford Explorer that I use as a command vehicle, is a total loss. It was relocated once during operations. However, as water levels rose, it was unable to be relocated a second time before being submerged. I am currently operating in a backup command vehicle redesignated as Unit 26. Our inflatable boat incurred a 4-foot tear in the bottom, allowing it to take on water. This was temporarily fixed through patching on Friday. We deployed the boat on the reservoir on Saturday without incident to confirm operability. I'll be reaching out to the manufacturer this week to explore more permanent solutions. I want to give a special thank you to Chief Nicholson and the Lynn Fire Department for responding with their inflatable boat. We were able to mount our motor on their boat to continue operations. We lost 2 portable radios when one of DNR's boats capsized with our personnel on board. Several throw bags and PFDs need replacement, which Chief Clark is currently working on. Today, we are fully capable of performing water rescues utilizing our inflatable boat as well as our metal hard-bottom boat. As always, our members remain diligent in staying prepared and trained to respond to any emergency, including water rescues. Moving forward, I'll be working toward improving our water rescue equipment in the long term. We operated our inflatable boat utilizing a 30-horsepower prop motor. Although we were able to complete our mission, a 40-horsepower jet propulsion motor is better suited. These motors are lower profile and will sustain less damage operating in urban environments in shallow water. At one point, as we moved upstream, rescuers on board had to assist the motor using oars to overpower the current. We need a second inflatable boat that can be deployed if the first is damaged or when multiple emergencies occur in separate locations. As crews worked in Cambridge City, remaining personnel responded to other water rescues in Richmond. They utilized the metal boat. However, inflatable boat is preferred for majority of water conditions. One of the main complications during the event was communication. Every agency on scene except for RFD had 800 megahertz radios. We are still using VHF. This created an extra level of communication to relay information to RFD crews. This significantly hinders operations while decreasing safety and accountability efforts on scene. Deputy Chief Miller has been actively working on obtaining a grant to cover the cost of switching to an 800 megahertz radio system. Chief Kinder has already been budgeting for this switchover to occur in phases. I've spoken with John Duke at EMA regarding possible FEMA assistance or other government programs to help recoup these costs incurred. He advised that each city department needs to compile a list of resources used to include labor, along with any equipment in need of repair that is directly related to the flash flood. The city can submit one document covering all departments to EMA when the time comes. Thank you for your continued support of the Richmond Fire Department and serving our community and surrounding areas. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about our response or our current resources.
Mr. President,
Ms. Bumalo.
Yes, I want to thank the first responders. There was a boat rescue for my daughter and grandson and my other daughter, and their children got rescued by it was a truck, but it's a water, the one you said that goes on water. But anyway, and my grandson loved riding in that, just so you know.
Two
Yes.
boys and two.
There's-
women. Yep.
yeah.
Yep, those, I think that was the first house we got to.
Really? Okay, all right, but thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heartfelt appreciation for all our first responders.
Yeah, thank you. It's what we're here for.
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell.
as a training chief, Mr. Baker, do you believe that the city of Richmond and the county would benefit from a countywide strike team training together and working together?
I think it would benefit training with these other departments just for the means of communication and command structure. Strike teams would be nice. The way we kind of operate here, the entire department ends up being our team. I'm under the mode that if dispatch comes in with any kind of run, we need all 83 of our members ready to respond. So our whole shift will be our team, and then coordinating with outside departments, especially with Lynn. We worked with them, Centerville, Cambridge City. Getting these joint trainings would be great, even if you don't even call it a strike team, just mutual aid trainings, I think would be great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get a report from the police department next.
Good evening, council. So Kyle Weatherly, Richmond Police Department. Sitting up here to my left, that is Major Neil Van Middlesworth. So on August 12th, the floods in Cambridge City far surpassed what we experienced in 2006. That is not something any of us ever expected. We did receive a lot of rain, but to see the damage that was created over this past week is not anything we could have anticipated. So what we've done on that date is we were able to send a team over to Cambridge City for mutual aid. That was led by Major Van Middlesworth. He took a total of 7 officers, to include himself. And ultimately, a civilian was also recruited, so to speak, in a way. So those officers actually included Major Van Middlesworth, Detective Pat Tudor, Sergeant Tyler Hobbs, Sergeant Quentin Schuler, Detective Paul Hutchison, Detective Zach Huskisson, Officer Scotty Christie, and the civilian I spoke of is Mark York, and he will come into play here in just a second. So upon their arrival, they staged on the west side of the Main Street. Wayne County Mobile Command Center was moved forward to support operations. DNR had 4 boats operating in the floodwaters. Richmond Fire Department's boat was damaged and had to be removed from service, and the conditions continued to become more dangerous. So with the loss of boats by both DNR and the fire department, Pat Tudor was able to contact Mark York, who he knew to have a boat. So just asking for assistance and rescue, Mark York brought his boat to the scene and turned that over to first responders. So DNR had a fast water boat operator who was able to take control of that boat and actually navigate it around with Detective Tudor, Sergeant Hobbs, and actually were able to go and do some rescue operations. So other personnel that remained stayed and were able to help the victims and move them to safe locations when they were brought back. So ultimately, RPD supported boat made 3 or 4 rescue trips. Approximately 3 to 5 people were transported to safety. And then the water speed and conditions continued to worsen. DNR lost another boat. And for everyone's safety, boat rescue attempts were eventually suspended. So we had the unique opportunity to take our Bearcat over to Cambridge City. So with that lifted vehicle, that heavy armor, we were able to utilize that to go house to house and actually make a few more rescue operation attempts. They were able to do so successfully, and we did not sustain any losses during that. During all that time, we still had our patrol units in the city. We did not lose any service to our citizens during this time. I know myself and Major Lips also went out to assist with any patrol-related incidents. During that 24-hour period, patrol units responded to about 150 calls in that 24-hour period. Many of those were patrol-related. Some were just assistance, helping people get directed to get back onto 70. Others were just to help get vehicles turned around. Semis that were stuck in one location could not get turned around. Then others, tree removal. There were some trees down, and I'm sure TL will talk about that here in just a second. During that time, we did not lose any service to our community. So approximately 10 hours of operation were spent over in Cambridge City. They were able to effectively help several citizens in our neighboring community, which just goes to show that there are no jurisdictional boundaries when it comes to the service that we provide. So we are very proud of not only the Richmond Police Department, Cambridge City Police Department, DNR, State Police, Richmond Fire Department, and everybody involved. I know that I'm leaving out multiple agencies, but there are just too many to list that stepped up to actually make a contribution to the community when they needed it. Okay. I'm open for any questions. Neil can answer anything as far as what took place over in Cambridge City.
President,
Ms. Bumbalough.
I want to thank you and everyone you mentioned and all the ones that weren't mentioned for everything that you've done. And you know, we all know there's a lot of work ahead of the rebuilding of the community, and I just thank you.
Thank you. All credit does go to the men and women of the Richmond Police Department and all surrounding agencies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
An update from the street department.
D.L. Bozell, Richmond Street Department. Tuesday night, we got called out to a waterfall road, probably Wednesday morning, be my guess. On Wednesday, the employees closed 15 streets, mostly on the northwest side where the ground was really flat, and we just couldn't, the water just couldn't be held back. It just covered everything. So we helped sanitation clean inlets most that day. We helped a lot of citizens that were stuck. I'd like to call out Ethan Wheeler. He did a water rescue on Wednesday while we were out. Thursday was mostly cleanup of storm damaged trees, limbs, debris in the curb lines, blocking intersections. A lot of sand and gravel that washed into the intersections, so we swept on Thursday. Did a lot more cleanup on Thursday. Other than that, I'd like to thank all the other departments for their help. RPNL cut up a couple trees for us. If you have any questions.
TL, I'm sure the question will come up about down trees and folks' yards coming to the street. How can you get ahead of that messaging before they call you, or they've probably already called?
Yeah, well, if the mayor allow, we'll just clean up wherever anybody drags stuff out.
Just as you get to
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, if we
Yep.
can get to it, so.
Okay.
Yes, do that.
Mr. President.
Okay. Yes, Larry.
Is Waterfall Road open now?
No, it is not, and it probably won't be for a little while. It is a county bridge, and most of the county is tied up on the west side of the county, so,
Is the bridge damaged?
yes, it is. It has a big hole in it, so, yeah, and all the asphalt had rolled up onto it. I'm sure there's pictures out there, so, yeah, it'll probably be a little while.
Also, TL, I've heard the comment, you're here, so I'm going to ask it anyway, and I know it's not a city project, but Simhajan Parkway. Do you have any information as to when that could possibly open, or?
No, I do
Okay,
not.
okay. I've heard that many times, and I thought when I see you again, I'm going to ask you,
Yeah,
so.
no, I do not.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for TL?
Just thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you.
Thanks, TL.
Thank you.
Mentioning Simhajan, that is a train project. Do you have any updates, Matt Keller?
That concluded, it's related to the other one that Aaron Stevens has been communicating with.
Okay.
So he said a few more weeks. It shouldn't be much longer.
So you believe Simhajan will open in a few weeks?
That is what my understanding is, yes.
Yeah. Allegedly. Yeah, okay, great.
Bet on that?
Fantastic.
Lord willing, the creek don't rise. All right, sanitary district I have some images for them, so. Thank you, Pat Smoker. Oh, I had some images from streets too, sorry. I think we saw all those.
Yeah, Pat Smoker, Sanitary District. Sanitary District manages trash recycling collection, landfill operations, storm and sanitary sewer collection, and wastewater treatment services. The wastewater treatment plant is designed for an average flow capacity of 18 million gallons per day and a peak hourly flow capacity of 36 million gallons per day. On August 12th, the facility received a total flow of 70 million gallons, with peak hourly flows reaching 107 million gallons per day. The plant fully treated 23 million gallons of wastewater while the excess volume was discharged via CSO 002. During this time frame, the sanitary collection system experienced 26 confirmed or suspected overflows, comprising basement backups, manhole overflows, and lift station overflows. For context, fewer than 20 total overflows were recorded in the preceding 12 months combined. The district has distributed city insurance claim forms to residents impacted by sewer backups. All submitted claims are evaluated and determined by the insurance carrier and state statutes. Residents who have not yet received a claim form may obtain one at the district billing office located at 25 North 7th Street, or by calling 765-983-7450, which is the district's main number. The district is conducting follow-up inspections in all affected areas to potentially determine causation. Although we know most of this is obviously from I&I or where areas that are still combined sewers, there could be roots or intrusion of things like that that could have exacerbated those conditions. So it was a severe weather condition, as recent event, estimated as an approximate 50-year storm. Those I&I and the CSOs hydraulically surcharged the system. Although we had some pump complications, the main treatment plant maintained continuous functionality and avoided operational flooding. The district recently completed an upgraded levee around the facility, and that floodgate did activate, so it's been there for about 1 month, and we got to use it, so we were expecting never to use it. However, the materials recovery facility, the MRF, which is located at the sewer treatment plant grounds outside of the levee perimeter, it experienced flooding. I think there was you can see the picture, the top right and then the bottom right picture there. About 3 feet of water were inside the facility. Restorations Restoration operations for the facility are currently underway. This information was all reported to the Richmond Sanitary District's Indiana Department of Environmental Management inspector as an update to the storm. The inspector stated that she was pleased with our status in comparison to other communities on this side of the state. RSD has also received inquiries as possible source of biological seed for some neighboring plants that were flooded and lost treatment capabilities. As far as street flooding goes, TL mostly mentioned that, but aside from areas where rivers or creeks exceeded the bank flow, there were few major instances of street flooding outside of those in that area. Trash and recycling collection, pursuant to the Level 3 travel advisory and the flooding at the material recycling facility, municipal trash and recycling routes originally scheduled for Thursday, August 13th were rescheduled for today, August 17th, and we did complete that. And while repairs at the MRF remain in progress, standard service operations have resumed for the public. As far as the landfill goes, late in the day on August 12th, excess moisture at the active working face rendered continued operations unsafe, prompting a temporary closure to the public until the morning of August 14th. And like the others, I'd like to thank the other city departments for their assistance. TL was a big part. RPD helped close roads. RPNL helped when we lost the transformer down by one of the lift stations, so it was a big help to maintain operations.
Thank
Beyond
you.
Very
any
good.
questions?
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Pat.
much.
Thanks, Pat. I have a separate slideshow for Parks Department. You want me to show it or are you showing it? Sorry? Yeah. It's easier since it's connected.
Good evening.
Good
evening. Denise Retz, Park Superintendent. And I just wanted to kind of talk through kind of our response for the flood and what we're doing in parks. We're just kind of going through the assessing right now, and we're going to go through responding, restoring, and recovery. So I wanted to kind of go through and show you some pictures of kind of, if you haven't been out to our parks, what they look like, and how we're going to respond to that. Also, in the flood event, at a glance, if you're not aware, the other flood that we had, of course, in 1913, if you remember, and if you've heard of that.
I remember it well.
People have been talking a little bit about that. Well, the way it was different, and they've been comparing it a lot to that, and so I just wanted to kind of show you how it was different. But it dropped about 12.89 inches over a 5-day span. This storm dropped 7 inches in a 72-hour window. So, I just want to kind of tell you a little bit about that. And the Whitewater River surpassed all local markers in 1913 to 25 feet. We spiked rapidly in a major flood stage of 16.2 feet in the Whitewater River. So those are big things. Parks affected, impact levels were assessed to low impact, moderate, and severe. So we kind of assessed everything in that way. I have some time-lapse videos to show you, but I'm going to send this to you so you can see that. And it's really kind of interesting how you can see from our security cameras how things started and how it progressed. Really kind of an interesting thing to see. I was down at Test Road at 10 o'clock, and I was standing at the steps. Just in it at 12 o'clock, you couldn't even be in the trailhead. So that's how fast this came up and became very dangerous, of course. Then the aftermath, we have trees down, we have limbs that came completely up into the parking lot. Obviously, the overlook will need pressure washed. We had a ton of debris everywhere. The silt and some of the mud and the muck, all is going to have to be scraped and pressure washed off Test Road. And then, when we talk about the trails, we have trail damage and that we're going to have to come back from. Thistlewhite Trail is completely washed out. Just rebuilt that from erosion that had happened before. So we'll be rebuilding that one again. And this is where the gorge and Greenway meet. You can see it was completely flooded over. And then, of course, we're looking at what those pathway impacts are and how we can fix that in the future. So some of our trails are closed. Talking about the Weir Dam project, the Norfolk Southern project, I'm down there a lot looking at that. And I was down there actually on the 12th that morning because we're about to do the BOT project down there, and it was raining crazy, and I wanted to see how our project was going to be impacted, as it will be starting very soon. And so I was down there at 10:03. I was taking these pictures showing that it was rising, and then just later on that afternoon, it was almost up to the edge of the 17-foot area there that the crane sits on. So you can see how far that water rose up in the gorge so quickly at just the area there where the crane sits, there at the Norfolk Southern area. And my understanding is they'll be on site for at least another 6 weeks. Jim, the site manager there, and then they'll be doing mitigation as well. But till at least the end of September, October, we'll be crossing over paths. So we'll be working on that together. We won't have to actually close Simhadron for our project, so we'll open it, but we'll have to have some of the area closed. Flood damage to Glen Miller Park. We did have roof damage and water entry at the playground restroom. We had damage at the Rose Garden, just mainly we're going to have to get in there and clean some things up and some broken lights. Of course, this is the fountain project that's in works right now, but we will have to get in there and pressure wash these areas and these bricks. Clear Creek, Diamond 1 completely underwater. We have Industrial League. That will be postponed until it dries out. Middle Fork, we're assessing the damage to the docks. However, once the water came back down, the docks seemed to rise back up to the surface, so that's good news, but you can see the damage that the heavy water did to those. At Highland, the basement of the clubhouse had over 3 inches of water. They pump it out and squeegee it each day. The city tournament was canceled, which a lot of people were upset by, but we did have to postpone the pump installation, and it's coming tomorrow, so we're very excited about that. And then Freeman is located in the floodplain. It was completely underwater, so we're waiting for that to dry out, assess those damages there. Bicentennial Park, located in the floodplain, completely underwater down in the whole roadway, as you can see from the top. And then, of course, in that small garage, we had a complete underwater, so we'll have to dry everything out in there. Springwood was hit very hard. And here you can see in the bottom left-hand corner the bridge and how it is going to affect people getting to Springwood because they'll have to enter off of the other area, not on the 27 due to the bridge being out. The shelter's completely underwater. The area to the pavilion completely underwater. And then there was a washout of the trailhead that we just put in and debris just everywhere. And we just paid a ton of money to get the trees that were down out of there, and the park was looking so good, so now it's back to the drawing board there. We have trees down there at Springwood, back at the chapel, so those will have to get cleaned up. And then the playground took a beating with all the fall surface completely submerged, and this will have to be completely raked when the water is dried out there. The swinging bridge. A lot of people are concerned about the swinging bridge. We're going to be working with our consultants and our bridge experts there for the BOT to see what we can do to actually work on this bridge. We do have bridge experts on retainer, so we're gonna try to get this into the project that will be in the Weir Dam. So excited about that. And look forward to getting that repaired. The flood damage to the Star Jeanette building and area, it came in very, very fast, and we're going to need to work through scraping and pressure washing the building there at Star Jeanette and all of the medallions. So all 29 medallions. And, you know, when we talk about all of our areas, I don't want to forget our market vendors. Our farmers are struggling. And so I want to make sure that while we think about our areas and restoring those, we do have impacts on our market vendors. And, you know, we have market vendors who've lost a lot of crops. And so I just want to encourage everyone to visit the market, and the ways they can help, obviously, is to come to the market, to bring people to the market, to buy things at the market, even if the market's not looking the same. You know, what you buy matters to all the vendors. And we're also selling things, some vendors are selling things for, to benefit people with the flood and to go back to that. So there's things that are happening at the market, and the market hours obviously are Tuesdays 4 to 7, Saturdays 9 to noon. So kind of our response process has been, you know, assessing and responding and getting through that. So basically, we've been also documenting everything, as the mayor said. So obviously, our documentation, we're going to make sure that everything is claimed. And then we're looking through some mitigation plans and how things are going to go forward in terms of what we put where and the erosion that is happening, and working through those things. So we'll be restoring our parks as soon as we can, and working on that recovery planning and capital improvements as we can. But just like the docks rose back at Middle Fork, the parks will too, and just give us some time and we'll get them where they need to be. Any questions?
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yeah, Mr. Ingram.
So the docks did all the docks come back, or?
Basically the launch area is where we had the issues. Everything else just kind of ebbs and flows with the water.
Okay.
But it
But
just
they weren't
came into some, no.
Okay, broken apart, or?
Wonderful.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did want to also thank the fire department and the street department and everyone else who has been a tremendous help. We did have a couple people stuck at Springwood, and they were an amazing help for us to get them rescued and get them out. And just all the departments are working great together, and just want to thank them and all the department heads.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes, everybody, all 400 permanent city employees and a lot of the 100 seasonal employees stepped up and worked together. So it's good to see everybody supporting each other. And again, as all the department heads get their spreadsheets done, I think they have them done, the controller's office will be collecting those. So we'll send one giant spreadsheet to the Wayne County EMA, who will send it to FEMA eventually. And we'll let you know how that comes out. That's all I have.
Council have any other questions? Hearing none. We also received the July 16th and July 23rd and July 30th minutes from the Board of Public Works. Are there any comments from council on any of those meetings? Okay. Moving on to reports from department heads. I think we accomplished that, unless there's any other reports. No? Okay. Ordinance is on first reading. Ordinance 46, 2026.
Mr. President,
Mr. Parker.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and advance ordinance 46, 2026 to first reading, read by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to advance ordinance, or to suspend the rules and read by title only ordinance 46, 2026. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Ordinance number 46, 2026, an ordinance authorizing the City of Richmond, Indiana to issue its Economic Development Revenue Note, Series 2026, and approving other actions in respect thereto.
Good evening, Beth Fields.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Ordinance 46, 2026 is an ordinance that authorizes the public-private financing structure that will be funding the critical infrastructure for the Smith Hill Development Project, which is a mixed-use residential neighborhood project. Now, this ordinance will establish a combined financial package that will utilize two primary funding streams. So the first will be the READY grant funding. This is the grant that we have received in the amount of $4.33 million. This has been approved by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, so an application was submitted to our region, which is Forge, East Central Indiana. They compiled all of the applications for the region, and then they chose those that would move forward to the state for consideration. The Smith Hill project was selected for funding, and that funding requires a 1-to-1 match in public funds. So the $4.33 million coming from the READY grant funds will be matched by Redevelopment Commission funds on hand in the amount of $3,230,000. And that will be the majority of our public match, and the balance of our public match will be $1.1 million valuation for real property that was provided and donated by Reed Health specifically for this project. Brings us to a total combined public amount of $7,560,000. These funds are earmarked. As I said, there was a budget that had to be submitted with the application to the state. Those are the eligible expenditures for this project. They will be reimbursed upon submission. Our first submission is due to the region on September 15th. And I have Lisa Lee here from Ice Miller to talk through the Indiana code pieces of this process and how all of that works. So I'm going to invite Lisa to the podium at this time.
Thank you, Beth. Members of the council, Lisa Lee with Ice Miller, serving as special counsel in this case since there are no bonds being issued. Ordinance number 46-2026, we're asking for introduction only this evening. This is utilizing the forgivable loan structure. The first time I think we may have implemented that was at your Flaherty and Collins project. So we go through the same approval process through your Economic Development Commission, so there will be a public hearing on this project before we come back to you asking for adoption. But at the end of that process, there are no bonds actually issued. The forgivable loan is funded from the READY grant and then funded from RDC funds that we're going to be asking them for tomorrow. So the process will be, we have introduction this evening. We're going in front of the Redevelopment Commission tomorrow for authorization for the $3,230,000 as a part of the match, with the $1.1 million land value being the remaining of the match. For READY, we will publish a notice of a public hearing of your Economic Development Commission to be held on September 7th, and then we will come back to you following that public hearing and hopefully a positive recommendation from the Economic Development Commission. The ordinance spells out, this is for the core infrastructure for Phase 1 of the Smith Hill development. And I know you don't want to go through every piece of this. Section 4 shows you the full loan funds of $7,560,000. Again, $4,330,000 of that is READY funds coming from the state of Indiana. The term of the loan is a maximum of 7 years if not forgiven. Forgiveness is based on substantial completion of the infrastructure for Phase 1 and acceptance of that infrastructure by the city. So it has to be completed to the city's engineering standards and actually accepted by the city before any of that loan would be forgiven. With that, I'm happy to answer questions, and I would be back in front of you on September 7th.
I have a question, Ms. Lee.
Yes, sir.
The $1.1 million land value, has that property been transferred at this time?
It has been transferred to the city.
The closing has not occurred.
Okay.
It's been authorized by the Board of Works, so we've not closed it yet.
So if I don't know what the timing of that looks like, but I think it would be bad practice if we did anything before that occurred.
The $1.1 million for the land is not a part of the forgivable loan. That's only the READY funds and the Redevelopment Commission funds, but the $1.1 million is a part of the match. So I'm not sure at what point that has to come in.
I guess my question is that if the property is not transferred, if the city, if it's not closed, then I think that's an important point.
Well, certainly the forgivable loan would not be closed until the land is closed. So the forgivable loan will not be funded until all pieces are in place. Because we will not be able to get the ready funds without the 1.1 million land value and the 3.23 million of redevelopment commission funds.
So we would be comfortable moving forward, building on this land, even if it doesn't get transferred.
No, we would not. We want it to be transferred. What I'm saying is we would get through the procedures and all of the approval process, and conveyance would have to occur before we closed on the forgivable loan and provided cash funds for the project.
Okay,
I
so,
would say absent some very unforeseen circumstances, there's a signed purchase agreement. Reed's board has approved this, as has the Board of Works with the city, so I would fully anticipate that this closes.
yeah.
Mr. President,
Mr. Parker.
when does the developer actually get their hands on the money?
The first funds are coming from Ready, is that correct? I'll let you talk about when the city funds.
So this forgivable loan is reimbursable. So the developer will be required to submit documentation of the work that has been completed. And we will then, as a city, it's our responsibility as the subrecipient from the region to review that documentation and ensure that the work that was done was part of the budget that was approved by the IEDC and approved by the region, and then we would submit that for reimbursement.
So the developer handles all of the billing back to the city, is that correct?
Correct. They will complete the work, and then they will provide us the documentation of the completion of the work and the costs, and then we will request that reimbursement from the state.
What oversight do we have on that developer to be sure that that's what they did?
Well, that will be part of the process. So as they are completing the work and that information, then we will be following through and looking at that documentation to ensure completion of the work.
Which would be like the streets and the,
Yes, so once they complete that work, then as Lisa indicated, the city has to accept that. Just like with any subdivision, if that work is done, then they petition the city to accept those streets or that infrastructure. And then we go through the due diligence process to ensure it meets all of the city standards, and then we accept that.
what kind of a time frame do they have to complete this?
July 1 of 2028 for all Phase 1 infrastructure.
That's just for the ready infrastructure, which is related to these funds. The entire project will take much longer than that period of time.
This is all contingent upon and assuming that the planning commission does accept the plot plan that has been submitted, is that correct?
This financing is a separate issue from that. They're not combined. They're on separate paths. So this is funding that, as you'll recall, we went through the approval process to use Indiana Finance Authority funding for bonding. That was approved in 2025. But because of the timeline that IEDC had with getting the agreements to the regions and then getting those subrecipient agreements then to the subrecipients such as the city, that pushed that timeline back and allowed the redevelopment commission to have enough cash on hand so that we did not have to use a bond to fund our match. So we are able to pay that with cash.
If the planning commission does not accept the present plan, what does that do?
I know that they are going through their due diligence process and they have submitted comments, and the Plan Commission and the planning staff are working through that with the developer. That is something that is separate from the financing piece. Part of the financing and part of what's been approved in the Ready Grant funding is the engineering and the preparation and the studies that are required by the Plan Commission. That's part of what the grant is funding.
Okay, I just don't understand, I guess, if the planning commission doesn't approve it, there's no funding necessary, correct? I mean, you're assuming that the planning commission's going to accept everything.
I know they're working collaboratively with the developer to ensure that the development will meet all of the city standards and will follow the Unified Development Ordinance and go through that process.
Well, and they've already canceled their next meeting, and the new one now will be on September the 23rd, is that right?
That's correct.
So for those people who thought the meeting was going to be August the 26th, it's not. It's going to be on September the 23rd, correct?
Correct.
And if we turn this down, then what happens?
Yeah, we would lose our READY funding, the $4.33 million from.
Just for this project?
Correct. The region would then reallocate that to another community.
Okay,
This would be very bad.
thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell.
I have a couple of questions for Beth. First of all, how does our vote that we previously had for no apartments affect the new plan?
That was not part of the establishment ordinance that was approved by council. The establishment ordinance that was approved allowed for apartments within the development.
Not the vote of council, didn't.
Well, moreover, just this past session, the General Assembly passed a new statute that forbids municipalities from denying property owners for having rental properties. So we would be going against statute if for any reason, we shouldn't, but for any reason, we might try to deny it on that basis. I think we're exposed to a lawsuit.
Apartment buildings.
These are townhouses anyway. They're not apartment buildings.
Correct. They are townhomes. They are single-family residents.
So the vote we took was inappropriate, and negotiations that we did to get to that point.
I would have to defer to AJ. I'm not certain exactly which conversation. I know that I had sent an
It wasn't a
email.
conversation, it was a vote.
I'd like to see that vote.
Mr. Turner.
I don't recall voting.
Wasn't a vote.
Mr. Purcell has the floor.
I'd like to look back at that because we did negotiate the apartments out of this and approved it, I believe, as single-family dwellings.
And I can resend the email. I know this came up recently in the last few months. We had this conversation again, and I sent a follow-up email which pulled all of the code and all of the information from the ordinance and sent it to the group. So I can resend that email from a few months, which indicates that apartments are allowed within this development per the establishment ordinance that was approved by council.
I would like to see that because that's not how I remember the vote going in the negotiations with the contractor or the developer. Number two is there a bidding process by the developer to spend these funds, and we have no control over that?
We do not have control over that. The means and methods of the construction are up to the developer.
Also, I've been in talking, and I don't know if AJ has had time to look at it, or I should say our corporate attorney, the fact that we're giving so much money to these developers, and that money is not being spent with our local vendors or contractors here locally. And what we were looking into or wanting to look into is if there's a place where we can require at least bidding from local vendors.
I know I can speak to the 6 Main project. Local contractors were invited to bid on that project. They were invited to pre-bid, and then they were invited to submit bids for that process. Some local vendors did submit bids. Some could not submit bids because they did not have the financial capital to cash flow the amount of the project. They also didn't have the capacity, they didn't have the manpower to complete the project in the timeline that was required for the project. So there are local subs working on 6 Main currently. Same when we did our portion for 6 Main for the demolition and for the civil package. We put that out for public bid. We had 0 local bidders bid on that. Same when we took the former hospital down, we put that out for bid. We received, I believe, 18 bids, and none of those were from local contractors. They were unable to complete the project due to the size and scope and the timelines for the project.
Do you know what materials may have come from local vendors
For,
for the construction, just say of 6th?
I know 6 Main, the Catron's Glass is doing the shower enclosures and some of the other work there. There are some local masons that are doing work on the project as well. And I would have to request additional information, but I know that they had outreach. They received a list of local contractors from the EDC, and they sent inquiries and information to all of those contractors to encourage them to bid on the project.
Corporate Attorney Sickman, did you get a chance to look any further into that?
Not beyond my initial email response that I sent to you. Now, as Beth has indicated, means and methods are controlled by the developer in this particular framework, and so it's not a city-controlled project per se. In those particular instances, when it is, there is a mechanism by local ordinance to talk about ensuring that local contractors and vendors are considered and provided notice. My review of our local ordinances doesn't show that we have anything similar to that. That being said, I know just a matter of practice, we always involve when we're bidding and soliciting bids, the local contractors in Richmond. But for this particular non-city controlled project, I don't have any additional information to assist you with that analysis. I think the contractor is going to make the selection.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Turner, do you have any follow-up?
No.
Mr. Parker?
Specifically, when Smith Hill presented this to the Planning Commission was misled because of the fact that they specifically asked if there were going to be any rental units in there, and they said, no, there will not be any rental units. And so then with that information, the Planning Commission voted or approved the Smith Hill project. The original application to the city indicates that there will be no rental units. When this came back to City Council, we specifically asked them again, no rental units, and we were given the reply, yes, there will be no rental units here. They said, of course, if someone buys a house and later wants to rent it, that would be perfectly okay. And that's true unless they say they're going to have an HOA. Unless the HOA said, no, you can't rent it, then you couldn't have any rental units there. But that may or may not ever happen because we've never seen any HOA provided for anybody yet because it's too early. But there is no rental units allowed in all 3 of those times, and yet we get a project, Plant Commission comes back and they show us, 98 rental units? And then when in the redevelopment, they were asked, okay, who's going to own these? And finally, after Mr. Ham was pushed to the limit, he said, an investment entity. So in other words, yeah, they still plan on having rental units there, and nobody has approved for rental units. I don't see how we can possibly give these people this kind of money for something that they've misled us for from the very, very beginning. When it comes ready for the vote, mine is a no. I can't be misled all the time. If that's the case, and if we can't override the Planning Commission, there's no sense in ever bringing it to the city. No sense in bringing it to council if we can't override it. And we didn't want to override it as long as there were no rental units. I don't understand how it could happen this way. The Planning Commission said no rental units. Council said no rental units. Plot plan says, hey, we're going to have rental units. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Mr. Purcell?
Yes. I forgot to ask us, I'm sorry, Beth. Phase, we're now hearing phase 1 with this $7.5 million of investment. What is Phase 1, may I ask?
So phase one will be, I believe, 40 units. 40 single-family residential units, and that is per the application that was approved by the IEDC for the funding.
And how many acres is that going to?
We don't know because we don't know what 40 residential units will be built first. So it will depend as they move forward with the builders that will be building these units as to which of those builders have the capacity and the ability to move quickly.
I may ask this of Mr. Turner.
What's that?
You're familiar with this. Does that seem in line at $7 million for
Very-
50 units?
Very much so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. President,
Mr. Goss.
Mr. Sigmund, could you research and provide us some more information in regards to the statute that Mr. Turner referred to about the state not allowing us to ban rental units?
Be happy to do that. In fact, it's open on my screen at the office as we speak. So send that around. I have reviewed it in advance of tonight's meeting.
Yeah, it was a law we followed to the State House last year, and that's how it ended up. You cannot ban rental units in subdivisions. Yeah, I think the two cities that had may be grandfathered, but we're not one of them. I've done that in the past.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Beth? Ms. Lee? Okay. And your request was to assign this to redevelopment?
To the Finance Committee,
To the
please.
Finance Committee. It's assigned. Thank you.
Thanks.
Second reading. Ordinance number 33, 2026. An ordinance adopting a new schedule of rates and charges for services rendered by Richmond Power and Light.
So Tony was able to present tonight at the Finance Committee, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I apologize. Some of you have already heard this evening. But tonight, I'm here to present ordinance number 33, 2026. This is regarding a cost of service study performed by RP&L. Began late last year and continued into this year. So why are we doing this study? Rates must recover costs and margins so RP&L stays financially healthy and treats customer classes fairly. A rate study is now required every 5 years. In 2021, the IURC ordered a base rate review in 5 years. Although we left the jurisdiction of the IURC in 2022, the board and council approved the same cadence in the law that states future cost of service studies will be performed in increments of no more than 5 years apart to help keep up with inflationary changes impacting RP&L's operational costs. Previous rate adjustments occurred in 2005 and then in 2021, so we went almost 16 years in between rate adjustments. 4 goals of this study include system maintenance, environmental regulations, rebuilding reserves, and planning for the future. System maintenance is exactly what it sounds like, and that's our daily operations, maintaining our infrastructure on a day-to-day basis, our employee pay and benefits, training, safety, and capital equipment replacement. We updated our capital replacement plan going 10 years out as we put this rate study together. We also, in 2024, completed a study on some of our large power transformers. We knew they were getting old. They last 40 to 50 years, and we have a lot of those that will be reaching the end of useful life in the next 10 years. And so now is the time to be planning to start replacing some of those because they are expensive, about $1.5 million a piece. In addition, the second goal of our project is environmental regulations. We still have that lingering coal. It's called the CCR, Coal Combustion Residual Project. We have received feedback from IDEM this year. Actually, I'll probably give you an update at maybe the next board meeting on that. But we did exactly what we were supposed to do as a result of the last rate study, and we did set aside a little over $2 million a year over the last 5 years, and we do have $12 million set aside towards that project. It's currently estimated to be a $30 million project. Inflation, so third goal is to rebuild reserves. So inflation dramatically impacted our purchasing power and operating cash over the last 5 years. When we adopted rates in 2021, we are expecting, regular inflation, but what we all experienced, as we know, even at home, inflation spiked in 22 and 23. Some of our daily drivers are listed here: transformers, poles, streetlight wire, LED lights. I mean, our 25 kVA transformer, these are our residential transformers. They were $1,600 in 2020. They spiked to $8,600 in 2022. They're now down to $3,900, still 135% increase. Poles are up 82%, streetlight wires up 70%, primary wire 28%, LED streetlights up 27%. So we were able to absorb those costs through the last 5 years, but it did impact our operating cash. We also had a couple of emergencies, and that's why we have reserve accounts. And one of those was the unexpected failure of a key intertie transformer in 2024 and some premature failure of some 69 kV breakers. When we presented on that kV breaker project, this was not just an RP&L thing. Folks that had bought those all across the United States were also experiencing premature failure of those. So reserve accounts in this industry for a municipal electric company should be around 200 days cash on hand. Our goal is to get us to about 100 days through this next rate study. Additionally, the next goal is responsible planning. We know the Midwest Industrial Park has seen growth, and we know there's additional load that will be possibly utilized when another project is completed. We also know the community has acquired additional land, so we're watching that closely so that we can be prepared to respond to add an additional service to the Gar-Jackson substation as needed. The key part, one of the biggest parts of responsible planning for this next race, or for this next 5-year term, is we'd like to build a new intertie substation in Richmond. The little green dots indicate our existing connections to the outside world. The little blue dot is the Whitewater Valley Station, which is the coal-fired plant that still operates, but only as a peaking unit. So what we're dealing with is the fact that that station, because of federal environmental regulations, does have an end date. That end date is approximately 2034. When that occurs, we lose that piece of redundancy in our system, and we need to be prepared for when that happens. So we need to build a new intertie substation so that we do have that redundancy, and does provide us with limited amount of new growth opportunities as well. We have started preliminary engineering. IMPA did what's called a Class 5 engineering study for us to give us at least a basic cost estimate, and that's about a $10 million project. So when we get to bonding for the CCR project, we would like to talk about how we finance this alongside that and with using some of our cash reserves. But anyway, this is a key piece for our future, as we do know, again, that one of our key resources possibly will be going away due to environmental regulations. So what have we done? We maintain our reliability. That's key to economic development. A lot of our companies look at this as even more important than rates, especially when we have food processors, plastic factories, and things that any type of blip on our system costs them money. So reliability is key, and we work very, very hard to maintain excellent reliability. We have tried to reduce costs where we can. We've reduced about 10% of our workforce over the last 5 to 6 years through attrition when we've had a lot of retirements. We look at every position when they become vacant. Most of these positions, or actually none of these positions, have been linemen, substation maintenance, or anything like that. These have been salary positions or administrative-related positions that we've been able to reorganize in order to reduce our workforce to save money. We've retired a couple of substations through planned system rebuilds. We're working on another system rebuild in the Charles School area. When that happens, that retires more equipment. Less equipment is less maintenance. We're also working towards standardizing our distribution system away from the 4 kV, which is going to take us a long time, but we got to do it in baby steps. So the analysis, who did this study for us and what did it measure? Well, we used New Gen Strategies and Solutions. They completed our last rate study for us. We also did run the tariff by Chris Wheeler from Bose McKinney. She's a utility attorney in Indiana. She helped us with our last rate study. Consulted, with IMPA staff as well as IMPA member communities. There are a number of IMPA communities going through rate studies right now as well, which is nice when we're able to compare notes and talk about how we're approaching things. So it's nice to be a part of that IMPA team. But basically, this study sets the revenue needed for operating costs, capital, and reserves, and then assigns those costs by class using energy, demand, and customer-related costs. So basically looks at what we need to operate and works backwards on how we assign those costs. When will the changes take effect? Potentially, we would like to add one of the parts I'll talk about in a moment to start fourth quarter, and then the energy adjustments would occur in 27, 28, and 29. In order to explain that, I'm going to jump into a bill and we'll work our way through this. One of the things on the bill is called the facilities charge. That's a fixed charge that covers connection to the system, accounting, customer service, billing, and metering. This is your fixed charge that you pay regardless of how much power you use over a month. What we are proposing is a $1.47 increase per month year over year. So our current facilities charge is $12.08. We need to get it, the rate study said we needed to get it closer to $17. So doing this, it gets us to about $16.49 in 2029. I forgot to put a chart in here that shows our comparison to other utilities. Facilities charges are all over the place, some as high as $48 to $52, depending on the utility, some as low as $4. So we're definitely not in the high end, we're not the lowest, but we're kind of in that low average. The next part of this is the energy cost adjustment, the ECA, and we talk about this quarterly. And the reason I'm bringing this up as part of a rate study is because in red, I'm showing you how our current rates are structured. Our energy charge is a little over 10 cents a kilowatt hour, and the ECA is 1.3 cents per kilowatt hour. So what you're paying for energy right now is 11.424 cents a kilowatt hour. When you do a rate study and you readjust your rates, you zero out the ECA. And what I mean by that is your energy charge plus ECA becomes your new starting point for your rate adjustments. So that's what we will be doing. The ECA does not go away. We'll still be doing this quarterly, but it should be a less dramatic increase. I know our biggest increase in the ECA over the last 5 years was in 2023. Gas prices spiked dramatically in 2022. And the way IMPA does their rate studies, they recover their costs the following year. So in 2023, our ECA jumped dramatically to cover those increases in natural gas prices. The next part on your bill is the energy charge. So this is the main focus of our conversation. Your energy charge encompasses the purchase power. As you know, we purchase our power from IMPA, and then it covers all of their expenses, including operations and maintenance, capital equipment. Also in that energy charge is our pilot or our general fund transfer to the city and the reserves for the upcoming environmental project that we touched on just a minute ago. A couple of those things are not necessarily energy related, but again, they are important that we continue to fund. So what we're proposing to do is to pull these out of the rate and list them as a rider, not as part of the energy cost, keeping our costs compartmentalized based upon what they really are. So the energy, so first the federal regulatory expense, this would pay for the environmental project, that $2 million that we're already setting aside. What this would go for moving forward is to pay for a bond once that's issued. Then, of course, the general fund transfer, this does the same thing. The amount that we transfer to the city as being a municipally owned utility. This would just show that we're the amount on your bill that contributes towards that. In addition, a lot of states are moving towards a program where if you're municipally owned, you cannot have this in your energy rate. It needs to be listed separately on your bill. We know our governor has talked a lot about utility costs, utility transparency, so we thought before we're forced to do this, we'll go ahead and jump out in front and go ahead and do it during this rate study versus maybe having to do it later on. So 3-year path to get us there, and how do we do that? So I'm going to go, I'm not going to, well, actually, I'm just going to go there. So currently, we are at 11.424 cents energy plus ECA. What we'll be proposing to do in the fourth quarter of this year, would be to go ahead and add that federal environmental rider, and we would see a 1.62% increase on those bills. In 27, that's when the bulk of the changes occur and start the 3-year pattern or increases. And the new rate would start out at 11.591. Then we add the general fund transfer on there. The reason we're doing that next year is because we've already got that general fund transfer budgeted through the end of this year. So we would see about a 3.51% total change in 2027. 28, it's just an energy adjustment of one, and then at the end of the day, it's 1.46%. 29, same thing, about 1.5%. At the end of the day, these are residential based off of 1,000 kilowatt hours, which is the industry average when you're comparing rates. You're at about an 8.09% increase in your rate-based charges on your bill. So that's what you would see. How would this affect your bill in dollars? So fourth quarter 2026, 1,000 kilowatt hour customer could expect to see about a $1.85 increase. Again, 2027 is when we see the biggest jump, and that's about a $5.54 increase. Then 322 in 2028 and 330 in 2029. This includes the facilities charge that we mentioned earlier. That increases by $1.47 per year. So how do we compare to our neighboring utilities? So this was very timely. IMPA gives us information every year on how IMPA communities compare to our peers, and they do that through July. So very, very timely. I got this information just last month. So as a comparison to IMPA's top 10 customers, we are exactly in line with IMPA's top 10 customers when it comes to where our rates fall. You look at the IOUs. IOU stands for investor-owned utilities. And then we have a couple of our REMCs that are around us. So our rates currently are among the lowest in the area, and we're average when it comes to our IMPA peers. Now, this particular chart shows that 3 years from now, comparing to current rates, we're still below the IOUs, the REMCs, and of course, we're showing higher than the IMPA top 10. But I do know, like I mentioned earlier, there are a number of IMPA communities going through rate adjustments right now as well, and we would expect that IMPA top 10 bar to also increase as well. So again, we're certainly not going to be, we may be, again, exactly where we are today 3 years from now in comparison to all these other utility companies. Commercial and industrial. Commercial and industrial are more complex to try to explain. There are a number of factors. They have energy charges, they have demand charges, they have T&D charges, which stands for transmission and distribution, and they also have power factor charges based upon the quality of the energy that we deliver and how they use it. And some rates are more energy-driven, some rates are more demand-driven. So I'm not saying it's 2.3% plus 3.3% is their increase. It all depends on what rate structure they're on. Are they primary fed, secondary fed, et cetera, et cetera. So we also have a facilities charge in our commercial and industrial. The average facility charge in 2029, in 3 years from now, will be $242. We are dramatically lower than our IMPA peers, even 3 years from now, with the average being over $300, and the highest one is $750. And you don't want to make a huge dramatic jump, but this, I guess, would be kind of a testament of only having 2 rate adjustments over a 20-year period that we got way behind in our facilities charges. So we're slowly working our way back to where we really need to be in comparison to the market, to be quite honest. Will this meet our goals? Yes, and of course there's a but. Assuming power sales remain consistent, this path funds maintenance, the environmental project, rebuild some reserves, growth planning, and keeps our P&L's rates competitive over the next 5 years. Before I jump into this, some changes in the tariff, I went over that really quick. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, I'm going to jump into the changes in the tariff that are not rate related. I have page numbers, and the tariff was sent to you previously, and we've talked about this also at the RP&L board level. On page 4 of that tariff, we define those new riders. On page 6, we add a provision in the residential rate that allows a garage or a barn that has a separate meter on the same parcel that is not for commercial or residential use. Basically, I have a garage with a separate meter. You can be charged a residential rate. Right now, you have to be charged a commercial rate. So we thought that was a fair thing that needed to be adjusted. On page 7, we created a new program. Ralph Bain, our meter superintendent, put a lot of time into this. This is a prepaid program. This would allow customers to do exactly what it sounds like. Just like a prepaid cell phone, you could prepay your bill in advance, and when you are low on kilowatt hours, you would get a notice, either an email or a text telling you're getting low, and then you would just need to add more money to your electric bill, or your electric prepaid program. You would have to sign up, and there are provisions in this. You'd have to be a Smart Hub member so that you get notifications on your phone, and a few other things. We also have language in here that says that you would allow us to roll this out on a test basis to work out the bugs before we roll this out system-wide. But we feel like this is a good program. We have all types of customers in Richmond, Indiana, and we want to make sure we provide resources for everyone. Pages 39 and 40 just clarify some old language. Page 41 removes the EV charging rate. And the reason for that is that rate was established 5 years ago when we were all trying to figure out what EV chargers were going to do, how much power they were going to use, how they were going to work. And what we discovered is they fit perfectly within our existing rate structures. So instead of trying to create and modify a rate, we just thought we'll just pull it out and we'll just treat them like we are now and drop them into an existing rate structure, which is working just fine. Page 48, this is a provision we've really never dealt with, at least I've been told by some of my staff that's been there longer than I have, but this is called the QF rider. Basically, this QF stands for Qualifying Facilities, and this is about a federal law called PURPA, and the gist of it is if someone is pushing large amounts of power back onto the grid, you, as a utility, have to buy that. In our case, since we buy from IMPA, IMPA would have to buy it, but we still have to have this in our tariff. And basically, the change from the last tariff is that the amount required to be purchased has been lowered from 20 megawatts down to 5 megawatts. And we added some language in there that requires a customer to pay for any upgrades to our facilities if they're pushing back onto our grid, because if you're pushing that much back, it could require us to have some upgrades. And believe it or not, we have had a lot of customers in the last 18 months or so that have looked at large power or large solar installations that would be pushing a large amount of power back onto the grid. So this section of our tariff has become applicable. Page 60, this is the market-based industrial rate. This is one that IMPA will require us to have if we ever have a customer above 40 megawatts. So why 40 megawatts? IMPA has said that 40 megawatts is the level where they're going to have to go out on the market and start shopping for more power. They can absorb a lot, but once we start getting above 40 megawatts, they're going to have to start looking for additional generation resources. So to be blunt, this is basically the data center provision. And so any project larger than that, this rate outlines that they are a pay-your-own-way, required to upgrade any transmission or distribution facilities. Other things as required by IMPA that we would need to do, because this creates a three-way agreement. This rate is very unique, and that's an agreement between us, IMPA, and the end user. And one of the things it requires is a weekly billing, a deposit. I don't call it a deposit. Basically, you're paying have a amount set aside up front, a deposit equal to a month or two of your rate as a protection. Because a customer of this size, their bill could be in the millions of dollars every month, and it wouldn't take very long for a missed couple $1 million bill to really hurt our finances. So there are a lot of protections in this market-based industrial rate that not only protects us as a utility, but IMPA, and again, this is not abnormal when IMPA has done their homework in comparing this to other utilities in the United States that are working with data center projects. And to wrap up, page 61 is the Green Power Rider that you were kind enough to approve for us a couple years ago. Of course, it has been able to be implemented. It's just officially in the document now. And the utility receipts tax was repealed in '22, and of course, that's no longer in the document. Final slide, and I'll take questions. So where have we made this information available? What have we been doing? So there was an RP&L board meeting on July 13th that was advertised and open to the public, and the board did recommend this new schedule of rates and charges to be sent to Common Council for consideration. It was introduced at the August 3rd Common Council meeting, and then we're here talking about it tonight. On July 13th, we put a frequently asked questions page as well as the tariff on the front page of the RP&L website, so that's been up there for over a month. Every bill has been, on the back of the bill has a message saying that we're considering a new schedule of rates and charges with a QR code that will direct them to the frequently asked questions and the tariff. We also held a large customer meeting at IU East on July 17th. It was well attended. We had, I think, over 45 people there. I think it was about 20 companies represented. And as a result of that, Ralph has been working with some of those large customers to provide them with bill estimates so they understand how these rate changes will affect these large customers, and has been meeting with those customers one-on-one. I'm accompanying him to one of those later this week. So again, one of the services that we've been doing in the background as well, working with our large customers. And of course, the media has covered this topic both in print, online, and in social media. So the word has been out there. And again, we're more than willing to answer any questions anybody has from the public as well. So I think I did this presentation in record time. So if you have any questions, I'll take those now.
Does council have any questions of Tony? No.
Mr. President?
Mr. Purcell.
Yes, this was presented at the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee did give it a positive recommendation.
Okay. So my thought is that obviously this is on second reading, so it's public hearing. But I also, because of this being a rate increase after a thorough rate study, that this would be an opportunity for the public that are here, that they can speak in favor or in opposition, but then to hold it for the 2-week period to where if there's any other additional comments, questions, any further explanation, that we can help those. I mean, we don't take this lightly. So that's how I feel. Would Mr. Sigmund, can I open public hearing and close it and then hold it until the next meeting?
Yes, just with the understanding that if there are additional questions or comments, those would need to be directed to Tony and his staff directly, because you won't have an opportunity for additional public hearing, but you can certainly take that procedure this evening.
Okay. What is council's pleasure?
Public hearing?
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure I understand why we would hold it.
We could, yeah, we don't have to. I mean, if you feel like it's been thoroughly vetted.
I make a motion.
We'll go ahead,
Second.
we'll go ahead and open public hearing.
Mr. President,
Mr. Turner.
I move we advance this to second reading, read by title only.
It's on second reading.
It's on second
It's
reading.
on second reading.
It's already on second.
Yeah.
It's on second reading.
Public hearing.
We're all tired.
We will open up, we'll open up public hearing. Those that would like to come and speak in favor of ordinance number 33,
I
2026.
think it'd be a good idea to,
Anybody would like to come and speak in favor of number 33, 2026?
I'd like to see it held.
Anybody in the audience that would like to come and speak in opposition of ordinance 33, 2026?
Mr. President?
Mr. Parker.
If you feel like that maybe that the public hasn't had enough time to speak in favor or opposition to that, we could leave it on second reading and public hearing and have it on public hearing in 2 weeks if you wanted to do it that way. Or we can engross it tonight and pass it or fail it tonight.
Thank you. That would be my preference, only to give the citizens an extra 2 weeks to hear and ask questions, but I'm only one vote.
Mr. President?
Mr. Purcell.
In speaking with Mr. Foster about this, if we hold it till the next meeting, it still fits the timeline of his needs for consideration. That would max out his need to vote on one way or the other at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Engel, did you?
That's fine with me.
Okay. So
Leave
we-
public hearing open, then.
leave it open till the next meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
And then we will hold and pick this up at the next meeting. Ordinance 34.
Excuse me, Mr. President, I got a question. Tony, when did you start putting this? Did you say July 13th is when they started going out on the bills?
We put this, we started the public notification process, July 13th, it went on the website, and the bills that went out that week, we have 5 billing cycles, 4 residential, 1 commercial, industrial, so we started with that billing cycle that week of, whatever that was, July 13th, so it went out. So we should be through a full cycle now.
Yeah, I saw it on my bill.
Okay.
So that's, so we're holding it.
Sounds good.
Yes, you've already spoken to your manager about it.
Unless there's a motion to.
Is there a motion to?
Yeah, I was about to make a motion that we go ahead and
Has to be engrossed.
Be a motion to engross.
We need to
Engross.
engross it.
engross.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross ordinance 33, 2026. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Everyone vote. How many ayes you got, Karen?
I only have one no.
Yeah, I didn't. I heard from everyone. All right, I think it's engrossed then.
So we're in.
Now it'll just be a
So we
matter of whether
engross it.
someone wants to call it for question.
Call the question.
Second.
We have a call for the question in a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
Aye.
Bill Engel,
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Ann Taylor,
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumbelow,
Aye.
Jerry Purcell,
Aye.
and Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
All are in favor.
Thank you.
Ordinance 34, 2026, a special ordinance authorizing the approval of a statement of benefits for a property owner applying for deductions under Indiana Code I-6.1-12.1.
Thank you. Mr. Goss?
Yes, I'll be speaking about ordinances 34, 35, and 36 all at one time. I'm sure everybody wants to go home at this point.
Yes, yes.
This is a tax abatement request for National Stamping and Fabrication, doing business as J.M. Hutton. 34 is for personal property. 35 is for research and development equipment. And 36 is for information technology equipment. They will be investing over a total of $4.1 million. This will allow them to expand their manufacturing capabilities to serve more customers. This will help retain 51 current jobs and create an additional 37 jobs. The Tax Abatement Committee met with them and reviewed their application. They exceed our minimum hourly wage and will be providing health insurance. We went through the scoring based upon their commitments. The Tax Abatement Committee recommends a 3-year descending abatement of year 1, 100%, year 2, 50%, and year 3, 40%. I believe Mr. Rick Grice is here. If you have any questions, I'm sure he would be glad to introduce himself and answer any of your questions.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Rick Grice. I'm president of National Manufacturing. just a real brief history. I know you're all ready to cut out, but we operate 8 manufacturing facilities around the Midwest. We make a variety of different products. We make composite hoods for John Deere, Case New Holland, make construction products for Caterpillar. We make interiors for trains for Kawasaki, for Siemens, for Alstom. We also manufacture truck cabs for both on-road and off-road. And our intent with purchasing J.M. Hutton is to expand on that truck cab manufacturing here in the city of Richmond. We've already secured a customer. We've already prepared starting our production manufacturing of that cab and soon to be completed before the end of the year. We are seeking a tax abatement and other amenities to expand on our growth and also for hiring. Currently, National Composites employs about 1,000 employees, and we want to continue that growth and expand on that hiring in Richmond. Thank you. I'll address any questions you might have.
Council have any questions for Rick or Doug?
President?
Thankful.
Mr.
Thankful
Engel.
you're
I had a question for Doug. So ordinance 34, you're recommending the 3-year abatement, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
For all 3 ordinances.
All 3 ordinances, okay. Thank you.
It's the same abatement for all 3 ordinances. So
Okay.
we recommend approval.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of each individually.
Just
Mr. President.
clarifying that.
Mr. Parker.
Doug and I spent 2 hours down at the facility and had a very enjoyable tour of the factory. One of the things I was very impressed with is all the new things that they're coming up with, their new projects. For example, the truck cab that he was talking about. The fact that that was a very, very clean factory. I've worked in factories before, and that was a very clean factory. All of the employees that we spoke to spoke very highly of what was going on and seemed to really be involved with what the future looks like down there. And I was very, very well impressed. I'm sure that this is a very good addition to the city of Richmond, and I'm definitely in favor for it.
Thank you.
Mr.
Those kind
President.
words.
Mr. Purcell.
We're happy to be in this community.
Great.
Great. Mr. Purcell?
Yes, I would just like to thank you for being willing to invest in our community. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Hearing no other, this is on second reading, which is public hearing. So is there anyone in the audience that would like to come and speak in favor of ordinance 34, 2026?
That would be it.
Would anyone like to come and speak in opposition of ordinance number 34, 2026?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Call the question.
Call the question.
Second.
We have a call for the question, a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
Aye.
Bill Engel,
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Ann Taylor.
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumblew.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
And Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
All are in favor.
Right. Ordinance number 35, 2026, as we've heard from the presentation. Again, second reading, so it is on public hearing. Would anyone like to come and speak in favor of ordinance number 35, 2026?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
Would anybody like to come and speak in opposition of number 35, 2026?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Call the question.
Second.
We have a call for the question and a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright.
Aye.
Bill Engel.
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Ann Taylor.
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumblew.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
All are in favor.
All right, ordinance number 36, 2026. After hearing the presentation, it is on second reading, which is public hearing. Would anyone like to come forward and speak in favor of ordinance number 36, 2026? Would anyone like to come and speak in opposition of ordinance number 36, 2026?
Move to engross.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Call the question.
Second.
We had several calls for the question and several seconds. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss.
Aye.
Lucinda Wright.
Aye.
Bill Engel.
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Ann Taylor.
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumblew.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
And Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
All are in favor.
Ordinance number 38, 2026.
Appropriation ordinance amending the 2026 budget.
This is a transfer to, interfund transfer to, of $22,000 from the general fund into another general fund account, just to cover expenses. There's no increase or changes to the budget.
Is it for a specific department?
It was actually for HR.
Yeah.
It's for HR, yes. We're moving 10,000 to do background checks and 12,000 to contractual services for contract and union negotiations. The 22,000 is coming out of the unemployment compensation. These are funds we did not use.
Council have any questions of Tracy?
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell?
the Finance Committee did meet on this and has given it a positive recommendation.
Thank you. All right, because this is on second reading, it's public hearing. Would anyone like to come and speak in favor of ordinance number 38, 2026? Would anyone like to come forward and speak in opposition of ordinance 38, 2026?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Call
Motion
the
carries.
question.
Second.
We have a call for the question and a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss.
Aye.
Lucinda Wright.
Aye.
Bill Engel.
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Ann Taylor.
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumblew.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
All are in favor.
Ordinance 39, 2026.
An appropriation ordinance amending the 2026 budget.
Resolution 39, 2026 is an additional appropriation in the amount of $630,000 for the terminal construction and the shortage from the FAA took for the terminal design of the new airport facility.
Does council have any questions for Tracy as it relates to that? Hearing none, ordinance 39 is on second reading, which is public hearing. Would anyone like to?
Finance Committee report.
No. Yeah. Mr. President?
Yes.
Finance Committee did meet on this. It is important to note that there are no tax dollars involved, that the airport carries its own weight financially, and there's a positive recommendation from the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, it's on public hearing. Would anyone like to come forward and speak in favor of ordinance 39, 2026? Would anyone like to come forward and speak in opposition of ordinance 39, 2026?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Call the question.
Second.
We have a call for the question and a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss.
Aye.
Lucinda Wright.
Aye.
Bill Engel.
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Ann Taylor.
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumblew.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
All are in favor.
Thank you. Is there any miscellaneous business, new or old, at this time?
Mr. President?
Mr. Purcell.
I want to note that there was a 2-year-old on life support from the flooding. The 2-year-old is now off of life support. I think that prayers are answered in that case, number one. And number two, I'd like to say that as I drove around on Wednesday to assess the damage around Richmond, there's lots of water that comes down out of Reveston which is high ground on the south side. And there was two gentlemen on E Street that live in the 1900 block that were going around and keeping all the storm sewers open. And I want to thank the citizens of Richmond that helped with those issues during the rain. I think it helped tremendously.
Very good.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?